Good afternoon, all. Okay, students, today we'll discuss about simplification of grammar. Okay, if we are having a context-free grammar, how to simplify the grammar or how to reduce the grammar into its simplest form. Okay, so you can see on the screen, the reduce the grammar. There are three things to be done for reduction of the grammar. So one is removal of useless symbol. Another one is elimination of epsilon production or null production. Removal of unit production. Okay, so let us see each thing. How to remove, what is a useless symbol and how to remove it, what is an epsilon production or null production and how to remove it, what is a unit production and how to remove it. Okay, so before going to removal process, we will see what is a context free grammar. Okay, so a context free grammar will be represent, okay, it will be represented like, okay, G. Okay, let us call the grammar G. So G is equal to V, T, P and S. What is V? Set of variables or set of non-terminals. Set of variables. Okay. Okay. And T represents set of terminal symbols. Okay. Set of terminal symbols or terminals. In short form, we will call terminals in the grammar. Then P is set of all the production rules. Production rules in the grammar. Okay. And the S is a starting symbol of the grammar. Okay. Okay. So why I am introducing these basic things again, to understand or identify useless symbol and unit production as well as null production, we require these basic ideas. Okay, so we or a set of variables. Okay, so all the productions will be getting from the variable symbols or non-terminals. So in the grammar, we'll be having the production rules, and the left-hand side of the production will have a variable, and from the variable we are obtaining the production on the right-hand side of the production. So right-hand side of the production may contain terminal and non-terminal, okay, or even null symbols also. Now we'll see one by one what is useless symbol, what is epsilon production, and what is unit production. Okay, so first we'll see what is useless symbol. So before going to explain about useless symbol, we should know what is a useful symbol. Okay, so if you know what is useful symbol, we should know what is the use of the grammar and its production. A grammar is nothing, the set of rules and regulations to be followed in a language to get meaningful sentences in that particular language. Okay, if you are not following that set of rules and regulations, and then the obtained string may not be acceptable by the particular language. Okay, so the grammar is important, and more that production rules which is defined in the grammar is important for that specific language. Okay, so the production rule in a context-free grammar usually will look like this. Okay, a non-terminal will be there in the left-hand side. Then it produces a set of terminals or non-terminals. Okay, you may have a non-terminal in the right-hand side, and along with the terminals may be there, or you may have multiple number of non-terminals. Okay, or you may have multiple number of terminals. Okay, let it be. So then in such a case, there is a rule in the grammar, all the production should start from a starting symbol. Okay, for any grammar, there will be a defined starting symbol. Okay, here in the formal representation, I explain with the S. Okay, so S is a starting symbol. So any productions in the grammar, any non-terminal in the grammar should derive from the starting symbol of the grammar. Whenever you are producing a string in the grammar, it should that non-terminal should derive from starting symbol. Okay, and the non-terminal should end with a terminal symbol. Only then we can produce a meaningful sentence or proper sentence using the grammar. Okay, so we will be having a non-terminal. Okay, and that non-terminal derived from the starting state. So let us call the non-terminal as W. So from the starting symbol, after it may be a direct derivation or a sequence of derivation. Let us represent the sequence of derivation with a star. Okay, so S produces W, and this non-terminal W again will produce a terminal symbol. Let us call L as a terminal symbol. Okay, or L or T, smaller t. So from non-terminal W, we will be following a sequence of derivation to get the terminal symbol T. Okay, so any non-terminal which will follow the sequence of activities, that is the non-terminal symbol is obtaining from a starting symbol and it will be deriving a terminal symbol. Okay, so such a kind of non-terminal symbols we'll call as useful non-terminals or useful sentences. Okay, so useful symbols. Okay, so any string or any non-terminal which is not following any of the sequence, then it is known as useless symbol. Okay, so suppose you have a non-terminal like a P, and a P is deriving a terminal, but this P is not reachable from the starting state. Means P cannot derive from the starting symbol. Okay, so then P, obviously P is useless symbol. We should remove P from the grammar productions. Or another way, you may have a variable. Okay, suppose it is Q and it is deriving from starting symbol and it is not having any terminal production. Means you may derive Q from starting symbol and further production from Q is not there, the definition. So obviously P and Q, in this example P and Q are useless symbols. Okay, so to remove useless symbol from the grammar, we should identify all useless symbols in the production line, or all the set of production rule we have to verify to identify the useless symbol and remove those useless symbol by following a certain steps. Okay, those things we'll see. Then another one is elimination of production, epsilon production. Okay, so we should know what is epsilon production. In this useful symbol example, I told we will be having a variable which is obtaining from static state, and the variable or non-terminal will be producing a terminal symbol during the production process. Okay, so while defining the production process or production rules in the grammar, any of the variable is leading to a epsilon symbol or null symbol or null character. Okay, then that production rule, suppose you are having uh, a production like a B produces null. Okay, then such a kind of production rules are known as null productions. Okay, and in the grammar we should not contain any null production. Okay, we should remove this kind of production rules from the grammar. So for eliminating null productions, we will be having certain steps to be followed. Okay, so third one is removal of unit production. We should know what is unit production. I'll explain that one now, and again we'll do some example problems in detail. Okay, unit production means in the production rules, whatever we are explaining in the grammar, the production rule, if you are having any production of this form, V implies V, means you are having one non-terminal and produces another single non-terminal. Okay, so it can be W determines V. Then left hand side you are having a non-terminal, and the right hand side again you are having a non-terminal. Okay, so in such a kind of production rules, if both W comma V both belongs to non-terminal in the grammar, then we'll say the production is unit production. We should remove unit production from the grammar for simplification. Okay, so I hope it is clear. So I'll repeat one more time what are the things we explained. We will be having a context-free grammar, and it formally it will represent like a G is equal to VT PS, where V is set of variables, T represents set of terminal symbols, P represents set of production rules, and S is a starting symbol of the grammar. Okay, then to simplify any grammar or to reduce grammar, we should have remove useless symbols from the grammar, null production from the grammar, unit production from the grammar. Okay, so what is a useful symbol we should know, then we can understand what is useless symbol. Okay, so any production of the grammar defined by a variable, then the variable should reachable from the starting state of the starting symbol of the grammar, and the variable should produce a terminal symbol. Then any sequence of activities in the production line, okay, is known as useful activity, and the symbol which is involving in this sequence of activity, that is starting from the starting symbol and ending with the terminal symbol. Okay, so such non-terminals are known as useful symbols. Okay, so then any of the sequence is missing in the production line, means you are having a non-terminal symbol and it produces a terminal symbol. Okay, so the second part is ready, but the terminal symbol, non-terminal symbol in my example P. Okay, P is not derived from S. Then P implies T. If it exists in the grammar, it is useless because P we cannot reach from S. And if you are having a non-terminal derived from the starting state, but non-terminal is not producing any terminal, then that symbol also useless. In my example, I put S implies Q, means from the starting state you are getting the non-terminal Q, but it is that Q is not deriving any terminal symbol. Okay, then Q also useless symbol. We should remove such kind of symbols from the grammar. Okay, that is useless symbol removal. So the steps we'll see with the example. Another one is elimination of epsilon production or null production. So we'll see what is a null production. Any production, okay, of a variable or non-terminal which is useful terminal, but it produces a null character instead of normal terminal symbols. If one of the variable or multiple variables may produce null or epsilon character, then we'll say that particular production which is leading to the null production, null character is known as uh, epsilon production or null production. We should eliminate epsilon production from the grammar. Okay, then we'll see unit production. Any production of the form W implies V, where V comma W belongs to the set of variables or non-terminals. Okay, means in the grammar, the production rule, we have the production rule, and in the production rule, both the left hand side and the right hand side contains a single variable or non-terminal. Then that particular production is known as unit production. We should not contain, the grammar should not contain such a kind of production rules. Okay, we should eliminate those productions. Okay, so now we'll see with the example. So first we'll see how to remove useless symbol from the grammar. Okay, so I have kept one grammar example grammar here, that is T implies A B slash, or okay, that slash symbol represents or. Okay, so we can read this production like T implies A B or A B A or A T. Okay, then A implies A, B implies A B or B, C implies A D. So we will identify which are the useless symbols. So for that, what we can do, identify the non-terminal symbols. How we will identify the non-terminal symbols? In the production line, all the left-hand side symbols. Okay, usually all left-hand side symbols, especially in context-free grammar, left-hand side we can see all the variables. Okay, or all non-terminals will be existing in the left-hand side of the production. So in this example, T, A, B, C are non-terminals or variables. Okay, other than this, any symbol appearing on the right hand side also we can consider as non-terminal, but in this example we don't have any non-terminal existing only in the right hand side. Okay, but we are having here the left hand side. So now assuming that T is our starting state, here in the definition uh, I have not given T as a starting symbol, but we will consider T as a starting state. Okay, so I can represent this grammar formally as G is equal to V T P S. Then what is V? Set of non-terminals. Here set of T comma A comma B comma C. Okay, then set of terminal symbols. Which are the terminal symbols here? T. Okay, T represents set of terminal symbols. In our example, small letter A, small letter B, small letter D are terminal symbols. And the production rule, obviously, what are the production rules they have given as a grammar? Then starting symbol we'll assume or we'll define as T. T is the starting symbol. Okay. Now consider each and every non-terminals and see how they are deriving and what they are deriving. Both the things we need to check. So except starting state, all other variables supposed to be derived from the starting state. Okay, and all the non-terminals or variables supposed to derive T or terminal symbol. Okay, so if I am taking the variable A, okay, can you get A from the starting symbol T? Okay, you should ask the question, and if the answer is yes, it is okay, half of the portion is ready, means uh, the variable A is deriving from the starting state T, starting symbol T. So here T is a starting symbol and T implies ABA. Okay, from T there is a production A, B and capital letter A. So with this production we will get the variable A. So as per the definition what I explained earlier, the starting symbol and after a sequence of operation you may get the variable W, and after a sequence of operation you may reach it to a terminal symbol. Okay, then it is useful. So here first part is ready. Okay, T implies ABA, means from the starting state you are obtaining the variable A. So A is useful. Okay, we cannot say completely. Now we look into A, what it is producing. Okay, second part, W implies T. So A is producing small letter A, capital letter A. Okay, and further is not there, means we will not get a termination with the production rule of A. Okay, we don't have a single terminal to terminate the production. Every time we can expand A to AA, again it will be expanding. Okay, if I am producing, okay, or if I am expanding, I can replace A with its production rule. Okay, I will get like this. Again, if I am expanding, I will get another A. Okay, but I cannot terminate here. So this A will be keep on continuing. Okay, so you may get infinite number of expansion like this. It will not terminate anywhere. So In this case, A implies AA is not leading to a termination symbol. So second part of proof is not satisfied by the non-terminal A. So we'll say A is useless symbol. We should remove A. Okay. So I'll write that useless symbol A here. Then next we'll take B. Okay. So can you get B from the starting symbol? Okay. You have the production rule. T implies A, B. From this production, you can get the non-terminal B. Means the non-terminal B is derivable from the starting symbol T. Okay. Again, we need to check whether B is producing any terminal symbol. Yes, because B implies AB or B. Okay, so here the non-terminal B is producing the terminal symbols B as well as AB. Okay, so in the production line, you can obtain B from the starting symbol and it can terminate with the terminal symbol also. So obviously, it will be a part of string derivation in the language. Okay, so B is useful symbol. Then you look into next non-terminal C. Okay, we need to check whether C is obtained from T directly or indirectly. Here C is not derived from the starting symbol. Okay, either directly or indirectly we cannot get a C. So in this example, C is useless symbol. Okay, again C also a useless symbol. Okay, I hope all of you are clear with the idea. Okay, so I'll repeat one more time. We have the grammar. The grammar, assuming T is the starting symbol. So we'll take the non-terminals A, B, C and we'll check whether it is useful or not. So to check A is useful, we'll consider A and whether A is obtained from T or starting symbol. Yes, it is possible because T implies A, B, A is there. So we can get non-terminal A from starting state T. Okay, again we'll see from A whether we can get a terminal or can we terminate. Here A implies A is there and it is not deriving to a single terminal or terminal symbols. So we cannot terminate the production. It will continue like infinity. Okay, so A is a useless symbol. Then we are taking B. B we can obtain from starting symbol T. Okay, again B is producing a terminal symbol. So the production from B can be reduced. Okay, or can be a useful symbol and it can reduce to a string, or whenever we are producing the string B, non-terminal B can be a part of the production line. Okay, so B is useful symbol. And if you are looking to C we cannot get from the starting symbol. Even though C is leading to a terminal symbol, it is not obtaining from the starting symbol. Okay, so C is a useless production. So in given grammar, A and C are useless symbols. Okay, capital letter A and capital letter C are useless symbol, and we should remove those useless symbol from the grammar. Okay, then to remove useless symbols, what we need to do is directly we remove the symbols, okay, from all the productions. Wherever we are getting the useless symbol in the grammar, everywhere we should remove the useless symbol. Okay, so the production obtained from A, in this case A and C, whatever the production we are getting from those symbols we should remove, and the resultant grammar we need to write. Okay, so the resultant grammar without the useless symbol we need to write. So T implies A, B. Okay, because B is useful symbol, so we can count. You can count that. Then A, T. Okay, so A, B, A. We should not include that A there. Okay, so without A we should make. Okay, so you can have A be there. A we cannot include. Okay, then cap letter A implies AA. That also useless production. So we should not contain that also. Okay, we should remove that. Then next useful production B implies AB slash B. It is useful. So we are including that. Okay, B implies AB slash B. It is useful production. So we'll include that. Next C implies AD. Okay, we identify C as useless symbol. So we should not contain C implies AD in the resultant grammar. So T implies AAB slash AAT slash AB. B implies AB slash B. Okay, this is a resultant grammar after eliminating all the useless symbols. Okay, now we'll see removal of null production from the grammar. Okay, so in the I have kept one grammar here. The grammar contains S implies XYX, X implies 0x slash null, Y implies 1y slash null. Okay, so here how many productions are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 productions are there. Among 5 productions, 2 productions are leading to a null production. Okay, or null symbol. So X implies epsilon and Y implies epsilon are null productions. Okay, so we should eliminate these 2 productions from the grammar. But whenever you are eliminating null production, okay, it should not affect the entire production of the grammar. Means before eliminating null production, what are the strings you are obtaining, same string you should obtain after eliminating the null production also. Okay, so to eliminate null production from the grammar, what we should include is, okay, we should identify the null producer. Okay, in this example, X and Y are null producers in the grammar. So if null producers are coming on the production line or right hand side of the grammar, we should consider those null producers as null and include that new production rules also in the grammar. So the resultant grammar will contain like this: S implies, okay, X, Y, X. Then X implies 0x. We will not write a null. Okay. Y implies 1y. Okay. That null we will not introduce. So after getting this grammar, okay, after removing null production directly, what we will do is we will consider null producers on the right hand side and assuming that it is null. Okay. So in first line, first production rule, S implies xy. Okay, xy x. They are assuming that last y is null. So what you will get? You will get a xy. You assuming that first y is null. You will get yx. You assuming that y is null because y also null producer. You will get xx. Okay. Assuming that your last y and x are null, you will get a single x. Okay, you assuming that both x's are y, x's are null, then only y will come. Okay, so assuming that first x and y is null, one x will come. That one x already there, no need to represent that again. Okay, so you will represent the production rule from the starting state like this. Okay, means you eliminate the null production from the grammar and consider all the null producers and remove those null producers from the production line. Okay, then whenever we are considering secondary production, x implies 0x. Assuming that x, okay, in the right hand side we are getting a null producer x. Assume that x is null, then what will happen? You will get only 0 on the right hand side. Okay, so 0x/0. Then next, third production rule, if you are taking, you will get y implies 1y, and assuming the null producer y is null, so you will get a result 1. Okay, so the resultant grammar after removing null production, we will get like this: s implies xyx slash xy slash yx slash xx slash x slash y. Then x implies 0x slash 0, y implies 1y slash 1. Okay, I hope all of you understood this, how to eliminate null production, what is a null production, and how to eliminate null production from the grammar. Okay, so let us see third method. Okay, means we should eliminate all the unit productions from the grammar. So we should know what is a unit production. As per definition, unit production will be like this: W implies V, where W comma V belongs to non-terminal symbol V. Okay, so if left hand side and right hand side containing single non-terminal, then that type of productions are known as unit productions. Okay, in the given grammar, you can see here S implies C and B implies A. Okay, both are unit productions because left hand side you are having a non-terminal symbol, and right hand side again you are having a non-terminal. Okay, so single non-terminal. So in this grammar, okay, in the given grammar, you have two unit productions, S implies C and B implies A. So we should remove those two production rules from the grammar. So to remove unit production, what you will do? You will be removing unit productions by its okay, you will be replacing the with its production rule. Okay, so the resultant grammar becomes, okay, whenever you are removing A, okay, whenever you are removing A, because B implies A is there, whenever you are removing A, so there instead of A you replace with this production rule. Okay, this A you will be replacing with its production rule 0 is 0 0, and whenever you are removing C, you remove C with its production rule 0 1. Okay, so the resultant grammar will become S implies 0A slash 1B slash, instead of C you will be writing production rule of C. Okay, it will become 0 1. Then A implies 0S slash 0 0 because it does not contain any unit production. But in B you have a unit production. Okay, so B implies 1 slash A is B implies A is a unit production. To remove that unit production A, what you will do? You will replace with its production rule 0S slash 0 0. Okay, again the third C implies 0 1. So the resultant grammar will become like this: S implies 0A slash 1B slash 0 1. A implies 0S slash 0 0. Then B implies 1 slash 0S slash 0 0. C implies 0 1. Okay, so I hope all of you understood how to eliminate unit production from the grammar. So let us see one more time what are the things we have covered till now. Okay, so first I identify the useless symbol and eliminate it. Okay, so in the grammar we identify useless symbol like A and C, because why A is useless symbol? Because A is not terminating to a terminal symbol, or A is not producing a terminal symbol to terminate. If we are expanding A, it will keep on expanding to an infinity. Okay, it will not like infinite number of times it will expand. Again that variable variable A will appear on the right production line. Okay, you need to expand again. So it will not terminate. So it is useless. No need to contain that one in the grammar. We can remove it. Another one is C, because the non-terminal or variable C is not obtaining from the starting symbol T. So in the production line, nowhere we can use C, the production of C. So we can remove that also. So only that the useful symbols in this grammar are T and B. Okay. So resultant grammar, we have seen that. Next, we removed null production. So in the given grammar, X implies null and Y implies epsilon are the null productions. Okay. So to remove null production, directly we remove that particular production. X implies null and Y implies null. But to avoid the effect, okay, because if you are removing null production, that is X implies null also, that whenever you are producing the string from the grammar, it should not affect the production, or it should not affect on the result. Okay, so the null generators, which are the null generators here, X and Y are null generators. We should consider those null generators on the right hand side, and assuming that it is null, then what is the result, that also we should include along the production line. So in the grammar, the S implies XYX is a original production. Then assuming that last X is null, okay, then you will get a XY. You assume first X is null, you will get a YX. You assume Y is null, okay, you will get a XX. Then you assume X and Y together is null, then single X will come. Then if you both X, okay, first and last X both are null, then you will get Y. If you are assuming first XY is null, last X, but a single X already there, so no need to repeat again. Okay, then X implies 0x/0. Okay, so why that /0 is coming there is 0x and X is a null generator, so we should avoid X also. Okay, in the right hand side production, that X also we should consider as a null, then only 0 will come. That production also will write there. Then Y implies 1Y, and assuming that Y is a null, so you will get a single 1. Okay, so 1Y/1 will be the production line. Okay, see, once you are eliminating null production, you can see unit productions. Okay, you can see the unit productions here. S implies X and X implies Y. So if you are simplifying the grammar, always we should start with the useless symbol, then null production, then unit production. Because once you are removing useless symbols, okay, we are not replacing anything. But whenever you are removing null production, usually we will be getting, okay, not every time, most of the time you may get unit production on the right hand side, because this type of situation may come XYX. Okay, and both X and Y are null generators. You will be considering those things are null. Okay, then the rest of the variables will be getting in the right hand side. So that situation, on that situation we have to eliminate this unit productions. Okay, so here in this example, unit productions S implies X and S implies Y is there. So this grammar is free from null production but not simplified, because unit productions are existing here. Okay, so we'll see this example, removal of unit production from given grammar. So in given grammar, any production rule which is of the form W implies V, where W comma V belongs to the variables set. Okay, here left hand side and right hand side non-terminals, okay, we will be having a single non-terminal both left hand side and right hand side. Then the production is known as unit production. And whenever we are simplifying the grammar, we should eliminate unit productions from the grammar. So in the given grammar, S implies C and B implies A are unit productions. Okay, we should eliminate unit production. To eliminate unit production, what we need to do is the right hand side, which is the non-terminal appearing on the right hand side. Okay, so one example is simply C. You remove C, actually we are not removing, replace C with its production rule. So what is the production rule for C? C is 0, 1. Okay, so instead of C, you write 0, 1 there. So the first production rule will become S implies 0A slash 1B slash 0, 1. Okay, then come to next production, A implies 0S slash 0, 0. Okay, so in that case, we don't have any particular unit production. But in the third production, you can see B implies 1 slash A. A is a single non-terminal on the right hand side. We can eliminate that unit production. How we are removing is, okay, right hand side you are having A. So that A you are replacing with its production rule. Okay, you are replacing with its production rule. So we will get the production A implies 0S slash 0, 0. Okay. So in the production B implies 1, and instead of A you will be writing 0S slash 0, 0. Okay. So you are replacing A with its production rule. Then C implies 0, 1 doesn't have any unit symbols. Okay. So I hope all of you understood all the three procedures. Okay, and whenever we are simplifying the grammar, we will follow the same sequence. First, we will eliminate useless symbol. Okay, useless symbol removal is the first step. Second step, removal of null production. Okay, null production, and the third step, what we will do is unit production. Okay, and this removal procedure should happen all the three removal process happen to the complete grammar productions. Until unless the grammar is free from useless symbol, you have to continue the removal. Until unless all the null productions are removed from the grammar, you have to do the step removal of null production. And until unless all the unit productions are removed from the grammar, you have to do the third step. Okay, if the grammar is free from all the three things, useless symbol, null production, and unit production, then we'll say it is simplified grammar. Okay. And this example, the resultant grammar does not have any useless symbol, and it does not have, okay, it is having one useless symbol C here. Okay, you can see here C, the production C is not obtaining from the starting symbol, right? So C is a useless symbol. If we are moving forward for simplification, we should remove this also. C implies 0, 1 is not required here, because this C, the non-terminal C is not obtaining from S. So it is a useless symbol. Okay, after removal of unit production, again you can see that useless symbol here. Okay. If I am removing C, rest everything is correct. No unit production, no null production. So if I am removing this one, then resultant remaining grammar will be a simplified grammar. Okay. So now we'll see one question which is asked in GATE 2013. They have given one grammar. Okay, consider the following context-free grammar. S implies A S A slash A B. A implies B slash S. And B implies B epsilon. How many productions will be there in the modified grammar if we remove null productions and unit productions from this grammar? Okay, see, they are asking to remove unit productions and null productions. They are not asking useless symbol. After removal of unit and null production from the grammar, how many number of productions are existing in the grammar? That's the question. So at present in the given grammar, how many productions are there? Okay, S implies A S A, one production. Okay, S implies A B, second production. A implies B, third production. A implies S, fourth production. B implies B. Fifth, B implies null. Sixth, at present there are 6 production rules. Okay. Now you identify what are the things we have to remove. We have to remove null production and we have to remove unit production. So in the given grammar, which are null production, we have the null production, B implies null. Okay. And which are unit productions, we have 2 unit productions, A implies B and A implies S. Okay. So let us remove null production first. So if we are removing null production, you will have S implies ASA slash AB and A implies B slash S and B implies B. Okay, we will not write a epsilon character there. Now, which is the null producer? B is the null producer. So consider B as null. Then what you will get? In the S, you will get small letter A. Okay. And in the production, A implies B slash S. There, consider B as null. So only S. Okay, it's already there. No need to change. So after removal of null production, okay, we will get the grammar like this. Then from this grammar, we need to remove unit productions. Okay, so which are the unit productions? Now here A implies B and A implies S. We have 2 unit productions. So we have to remove that unit productions and write the resultant grammar. Okay, so unit production removal, we will get S implies ASA slash AB slash A. Then capital A implies how to remove unit production. The right hand side, the non-terminal which obtained as unit production will replace with this production rule. So instead of capital B, the production rule of B. What is production rule for capital B? It is small letter b. Okay. Slash, we have S as non-terminal in the right hand side. Remove that non-terminal with its production rule. Okay, replace. Okay, I will not use remove. We have to replace. So S will be replaced with this production rule. So A S A slash A B slash small letter a. Okay. Now basically capital B implies B. Okay. So how many production rules are there? ASA, AB, A, then A implies B. Okay, instead of capital letter B, we are writing B. Then instead of S, we are writing the production rule of S. So ASA slash AB slash A. And the capital letter B implies B. So how many production rules are there now? Okay, we have the production rules. S implies ASA, that is the first one. Then second one is implies AB. Okay, then third we are having S implies small letter a. Then fourth production, A implies B. Fifth one, A implies ASA. Sixth one is A implies AB. Then seventh one is A implies A. And the eighth one is B implies B. Okay, so the answer will be 8. After removal of all the production, we will be having 8 number of productions in the resultant grammar. Okay, so they are asking us to remove null production as well as unit production. No need to do other thing, useless symbol, because they are not asking. In GATE, especially in the GATE exam, we should be answering to the question. We should understand what is the question, what they mean by the question, then answer to the question by applying the actual theory behind that. Okay, so in this question we will be removing null production and unit production. Okay, first because in the sequence they given null production, then unit production. Okay, first we remove null production, and what are the unit production existing, that also we will remove. Then in the resultant grammar we are having 8 number of productions. Okay, so that is answer.